I'm 83 years old, and I still remember the exact feeling of staring at my cell phone glowing on the nightstand in the pitch black of my bedroom. It was 11:30 at night. My heart instantly started doing that familiar, terrifying flutter against my ribs, the kind of panic that only a mother knows. It was my 45-year-old son calling. When I answered, his voice was tight with panic. He was calling about a massive credit card bill he couldn't pay, a financial crisis entirely of his own making, and he was calling me, expecting me to fix it, again. I sat there on the edge of my bed, listening to a grown man with a mortgage and a career ask his elderly mother to dip into her fixed retirement savings to bail him out of a storm he had walked himself into. And the saddest part was not that he asked. The saddest part was that I almost said yes. Society tells us a very beautiful, very dangerous lie. They tell us that you are a mother or a father forever. And while it is true that the love never fades, that phrase has been terribly twisted. It has been twisted to convince older men and women that their job as an emergency responder, a financial safety net, and a crisis manager never actually ends. We are told that to be a good parent, we must sacrifice our peace, our savings, and our health until the day we die, just to make sure our adult children never have to face the uncomfortable consequences of their own actions. I am here to tell you that if you are over 60, your role as the perpetual savior must end. If you do not stop doing certain things for your grown children, you will not only destroy the autumn of your own life, but paradoxically, you will destroy your child's ability to ever become a truly strong, capable adult. Before I tell you exactly what those things are, let me pause and be very, very clear with you. I am an 83-year-old woman sharing my heart and the hard lessons of my life. I am not a therapist, and I am not a medical professional. If your grown child is battling a severe clinical addiction, if they are navigating a diagnosed severe mental illness, or if they are in genuine immediate physical danger, that is a medical crisis. You must seek professional interventions, social workers and doctors. Please do not try to fix clinical issues with tough love. Do not play games with life or death health situations. But if your child is simply irresponsible, overly dependent, entitled, or constantly making poor life choices because they know you will always be there to catch them, that is what we are talking about today. A few years ago, I came across a psychological concept that completely shifted how I viewed my relationship with my children. The word is enmeshment. Psychologists use this term to describe a family dynamic where the emotional boundaries between parents and children completely collapse. It is when you can no longer tell where your life ends and their life begins. If they are stressed, you cannot sleep. If they are broke, you feel guilty eating a nice dinner. Their emergency literally becomes your heart palpitation. When a child is an infant, enmeshment is biological and necessary for their survival. But true, profound love requires a second separation. The first separation happens at birth, when the physical cord is cut. The second separation must happen in your later years, when the emotional and financial cords are cut. If you do not execute this second separation, you are keeping them in a state of extended childhood. So, what must you stop doing? The first thing you must absolutely stop doing after 60 is bailing your adult children out financially. I know how deeply this hurts to hear. We want to give our children the world, but utilizing your retirement savings, your pension, or the equity in your home to cover their credit card debt, their luxury car payments, or the fallout from their poor career choices is a direct robbery against your own future. You do not have the time or the energy you had at 30 to rebuild your wealth. Every dollar you give them to fix a mistake is a dollar you might desperately need for your own care, your own comfort, or your own medical safety in the next decade. When you constantly bail them out, you are stealing their resilience. You are teaching them that there is no real gravity to their choices. The next time they come to you with a financial emergency that they caused, I want you to use a quiet, stoic strategy. You do not need to yell, and you do not need to lecture. You simply look at them or speak into the phone with absolute calm and say, I love you too much to rob you of the lesson of fixing this yourself. My money is now locked away for my own future care, so I am never a physical burden to you. And then you let the silence hang in the air. It will be the heaviest, most uncomfortable silence of your life. They may be shocked. They may try to guilt trip you. Stand your ground. Protecting your security is not selfish. It is the ultimate act of responsibility. The second thing you must stop doing is allowing yourself to be used as their emotional dumping ground. How many times has your daughter or son called you on their drive home from work, and for 45 minutes they do nothing but complain? They complain about their spouse, their boss, their bills, their exhaustion. They dump every ounce of their daily toxicity onto you. And then, at the end of the call, they take a deep breath, say they feel so much better, and hang up. They go on with their evening, completely relieved. Meanwhile, you are left sitting in your living room, your chest tight with anxiety, unable to enjoy your evening, worrying yourself sick over a problem you cannot solve. You must stop absorbing their unmanaged stress. Your nervous system in your 60s, 70s, and 80s is not designed to process the relentless adrenaline of someone else's chaotic life. You have paid your dues. You have survived your own chaotic years. You have earned the right to a quiet mind. You must set a boundary. The next time the complaining starts, and you feel that familiar weight settling on your chest, gently interrupt. Say, I love hearing your voice, but I only have the emotional bandwidth for the good news today. If you need to vent, you'll have to talk to a friend or a professional, because I cannot carry this for you right now. Will they be offended? Probably, but they will eventually learn that calling you is a privilege reserved for mutual connection, not a garbage chute for their bad moods. The third thing you must stop doing, and this is the one that makes people gasp when I say it out loud, especially women, is that you must stop being the default, always available babysitter and housekeeper for your grandchildren. Let me be very careful here. Loving your grandchildren is one of the purest joys of aging. Spending time with them is a blessing. But there is a massive unspoken difference between being a loving grandparent and being treated as unpaid, on-demand labor by your adult children. I know women my age who cannot join a book club, who cannot travel, who cannot even take a Tuesday afternoon nap because their children expect them to do school pickups, watch the toddlers all weekend, and fold laundry while they are at it. Society tells grandmothers that this is their ultimate purpose. But loving your family does not mean sacrificing the final golden decades of your independence. You raised your children. You did the sleepless nights, the school runs, the endless cooking. You are done. You have the absolute right to have a calendar that is completely full of your own life. You are allowed to say, I would love to see the kids on Sunday afternoon for a few hours, but I am not available to watch them this week. You do not need to offer an excuse. You do not need to prove you have a doctor's appointment. Resting in your favorite chair with a cup of tea is a valid appointment. If your children get upset because they have to arrange and pay for their own childcare, that is a reflection of their entitlement, not your lack of love. When you first begin to implement these 3 changes, when you close the bank, when you refuse the emotional dumping, and when you reclaim your calendar, there will be pushback. Oh, the pushback will be fierce. Your children might call you cold. They might call you selfish. They might even pull away for a little while, using their absence to punish you into going back to the way things were. This is the moment where you must employ the deepest stoicism you can muster. You must understand that their anger is not actually about you not loving them. Their anger is simply the frustration of losing a massive convenience. They are mourning the loss of their ultimate safety net. Let them be angry. Do not chase them. Do not apologize for prioritizing your own health. And do not cave into the guilt. I can tell you exactly what happened when I finally stopped doing these things for my son. When I refused to pay that credit card bill, he was furious. He didn't speak to me for a month. It broke my heart, but I held my ground. Do you know what happened a year later? Without my wallet there to catch him, he was forced to actually look at his spending. He took a second job for a few months. He managed his own debt. And when we finally sat down for dinner together, for the very first time in my life, I was not looking across the table at a panicked, dependent boy. I was looking at a capable man. We finally had a conversation as 2 adults, not as an exhausted savior and a helpless child. I gave him the dignity of his own struggle, and it changed everything. Claim your 60s, your 70s, and your 80s for yourself. You have spent your entire adult life pouring your energy, your money, and your soul into raising human beings. Your shift is over. It is time to clock out. Protect your finances so you can age with dignity. Protect your emotional space so you can actually enjoy the quiet moments of your day. And protect your time because it is the most precious, non-renewable resource you have left. You have earned every single second of your peace. Thank you for sitting with me today and for listening to an old woman's hard-learned truths. Take care of your own heart first.